Trump has perverted the government into a casino with potty markets and other gambling companies betting inside the Senate, betting the legislatures corrupted to the hilt with never ending special interest money of cryptos and poly markets. Now you can place bets and launder money and loot out the treasury while you're supposed to be working for the government, whether you be a president or a senator or a Congress representative. But Trump wants gambling inside of Congress like it's the seventh wonder of the world. The Don Trump Mahaj. Or is it a mirage when he say all this is legal? So now, this Thursday, he's going to announce his great election reform act, whatever Save America Act, as he calls it, or may I say save his own ass, PAC fund money. So his Save America Reform Act, where he can keep on lying and cheating and gambling the government away and crippling it away with a bunch of money crypto schemes and pay for play schemes with special interests. An analogy: what would Jesus do to whip out the money exchangers, since his art of the deals is better than the Bible? So, how to reform government and get the corruption out of government. For the love of money, get the corruption out of government. Because they're not there to be bribed or degenerately incentivized with bets to pass laws, gambling bets, or corrupted crypto schemes like their chief and commander, conservatively speaking, looting out the treasury and enriching himself and his family and embezzling the government away. So, I am initiating government election reforms. So, since Trump wants to steal the midterms, so he won't be audited, because he thinks he's immune from audit for the past and the future in his entire life, him and his family, and anybody that comes 20 or 200 yards away in circumference of the Oval Office, he wants to give immunity to. Whatever is the square footage of immunity of anybody that walk in that circumference with corruptions and schemes and embezzlements, he will pardon you with total immunity. You can be safe that when you walk into the Oval Office, you are immune from all the art of the deals, or being held liable for your corruptions and your schemes. So, I want to pass an amendment for government reform to allow not for scoundrels like Trump to pervert the government away with degenerate art of the deals. So, he wants to steal the Georgia ballots and then tamper with it and make it seem like he won, when there were Republicans auditing not once but twice, and I even think they did it 3 times, audits in Georgia. But he doesn't give up with his lies. So now he sent Tulsi Gabbard in the past to steal the Georgia ballots, and now Clayton and him is going to conjure up schemes to try to steal along with Todd Blanche, to try to steal the midterms in order for him not to get audited by the Democrats taking over the House or the Senate. He doesn't want to be audited. Go figure. So, a good idea for campaign reform or government election reforms is to phase in forensic voting machines. So forensic voting machines, you will have to scan your fingerprint, your retina recognition, and your face recognition before you're able to log in to cast your vote. Like that, Trump can't say Haitians are eating cats and dogs. There are people using their names of their dead pets to vote. There's people using the names of dead relatives to vote. There are illegal migrants voting. And whatever conjured up schemes he wants to create. So with forensic voting machines, the way it works is that you scan your identity into the computer and then you're able to cast a vote. And then you walk away with a receipt showing who you voted for and the day and time you voted, so you get a receipt. So the machine keeps a receipt for itself too, a paper receipt, and it has a digital receipt. So in that receipt, you have a copy of your fingerprint, you have a copy of your retina, you have a copy of your face scan. So it's a digital paper trail forensic voting machines. So this weasel of Trumpery can use every excuse underneath the sun to run away with lies, like he did in January 6th. So, also, if you want to vote early or vote on the day of the elections, you can vote using your phone too. And when you use your phone to vote, it's the same way. You log into a government website, you scan your fingerprint, your face recognition, and your eye retina scan, your fingerprint, and your face scan. And then when you log into that government website, you can vote. Instead of mailing paper ballots that Trump can take and seize, like he's trying to do with the post office. So instead of scoundrels like this trying to stay empowered, we can get rid of them con artists and send them to jail where they belong. So with forensic voting, if you use your phone, you scan yourself into the system in a government designated website with using your phone. You scan your fingerprint, your retina recognition, and your face scan, and then you vote. And you get an email right away of who you voted for and the day and time you voted, leading up to election day, so you can vote early. At the same time, you get a mail receipt in the mail. So you got an email receipt, you get a physical mail receipt. And so the government keeps also a paper receipt and a digital forensic receipts. So, like I said, for this scoundrel, won't say there are Haitians eating cats and dogs. There are people using their fake names or their animal pet names of their cats and dogs or illegal migrants, because he like to blame everything on brown peoples and blacks. So, in order to have free and fair elections, forensic voting is necessary. Because paper ballots like this weasel will send Tulsi Gabbard to seize Georgia's ballots, and then for his, it was supposed to be Bill Polt, his real estate partner, protecting Trump from audits as national intelligence. And so now is Clayton, his financial lawyer, defending Trump from audits as his nominee for national intelligence to take over for Tulsi Gabbard. His real estate now he needs a financial lawyer to keep him safe and give him the inside word for national intelligence when Trump is facing audits, for Trump can obstruct and vet out investigations in case he loses the House and the Senate for the midterms. With Clayton, his financial advisor lawyer, if you will, for national intelligence. So, I also want to pass a law that Congress and the Senate or any other politician cannot accept a penny from special interests. Campaign reform. Because now anybody can bribe these corrupt, degenerate gambler senators and Congress representatives with poly markets and other betting companies that you could place bets on what they would do in the future. and then crypto it out for themselves or whatever they're up to with scheming ways with unlimited campaign funds to bribe them to the hilts with corporate corruption, like Trump with his hands out everywhere receiving payouts for quid pro quos and then buying shares in these corporations and enriching themselves. So I want to pass campaign reforms. Now you can't donate not even a penny to political campaigns, because I want to pass a law that it prohibits anybody from donating not even a penny to a politician's campaigns. So how this will work, this reform, is that a government will have a free government website where politicians from the grass level all the way up to the federal level will be able to debate themselves. They'll be able to insert campaign literature, campaign videos of themselves. They will be able to insert as much information as they want for people to tune in and watch their candidates debate themselves and read up on their candidates and their policies, why they're running for office, why you should vote for them. So it's a free website that politicians is a centralized government website from the federal level all the way to the grassroots levels, that you'll be able to log in and see your districts or your candidates and hear about what they're for, read up on their bios, read up on their histories, and see if you want to vote for them. And like that, the candidates don't have to beg and open their legs like prostitutes for never-ending money to bribe them like whores. So basically, if you want to run for office and you want to run for an election as a candidate, you could do it for free. You no longer need money to seek public office. So it will prohibit any special interest bribery, the way this crypto scheme orange con artists have done to corrupt the government and loot out the treasury, and made a degenerate casino out of Congress and of the Senate. So a national federalized, from the federal level down to the grass level, where you'll be able to log in, see your candidates debate themselves, see them and talk about their policies, why they want to seek public office. And so the public can tune in to this centralized government website for free and watch whatever candidate campaign races y'all want to watch and vote for your districts or your state representatives, even the presidential elections or senator, United States Senate race, Congress race, state level races, city races, townships races, whatever, governor races. You can watch it all for free. And the politicians can insert as much campaign material for their races as they want for free. So it's a centralized government designated website where everybody in the United States can tune in to watch the political races for free. As well as the politicians using that as a central platform for free. So make it illegal to bribe the hilts like Trump has with crypto schemes and poly markets and all types of betting companies, for they can incentivize their politicians to vote their way with special interests while they buy stocks in their shares, like Trump and his children with blind trust. Yeah, there's nothing blind about it. It's corruption to the hilts. And so we should outlaw bribery, whether it be never-ending campaign contributions by rich corporations and bankers and financiers. That should be outlawed. Meaning zero, not even a penny, should a candidate receive money when they're running for elections. So this centralized national American website, every American citizen will be able to log in all year round and watch their local elections all the way up to the presidential elections. As far as campaign races for public offices. So the politicians will be designated to that website to insert as much as they want as far as materials, videos, brochures, whatever. Their bios. They can insert as much material as they want to try to convince the American people to vote for them. For free, they can use that website. And so if they do win the elections, all they receive is their salary, their government salary, if they win elections. As far as all three branches, they should be equal and limited terms for all three branches. We shouldn't have senators in there for decades thinking that they're Roman senates with togas and gold release and Roman slippers, roaming around, debating on the floor, drinking red wine with grapes and cheese spreads. This ain't Rome. This is the United States. So we shouldn't have senators acting like they're Roman senates. In there for decades and decades and decades and decades. Some are in there for more than 40 years. The same for Congress. You shouldn't be in there for that long. And the same for the judicial branch. You shouldn't be a judge for life with your selfish individual opinion subverting the American people with your thoughts for life as a dictatorial opinion. So, all equal and limited terms for all three branches. So, for all three branches, if you want to be a judge or you want to be a president or you want to be a senator or Congress representative, you get, if you win your election, you get 4 years term for all three branches. And after your 4 years, if you want to run for re-elections and you win a second term, you get another 4 years for all three branches. So all equal and limited terms for all three branches. And the judges don't get appointed by the president or a handful of powerful senator committees in the Judiciary Committee like Lindsey Graham and Trump packing the bench of the Supreme Court as a totalitarian aristocrat, a demagogue, or autocrat, handpicking the judges to be there for life as dictatorial opinions, subverting the nation to their whims or their thoughts. If they wake up in the right side of the bed, not the wrong side. Or if they're not having emotional stress that day, they might judge fairly, depending on their psyche and their train of thought. So that's what's wrong with the judicial branch, that they want to be there for life as dictatorial opinions, subverting the whole nation to the whims of their clueless thoughts. So that's why we shouldn't allow a president to pick our judges. The judges should be voted in by American people, by the citizens of America voting them in. And they can get impeached by the people if they don't do their such a good job that alienates the population, a majority of the nation's civility. So the people can vote them in, the judges, and can also impeach them instead of Lindsey in the judiciary branch with a handful of powerful senators that can vote the judges into the Supreme Court, and the judges be in there for life. And in order to impeach the judges, it will have to be those handful of powerful senators that can impeach. So that's a few people calling the shots for the whole nation. It's a dictatorial autocrat, technocrat, aristocrat, handful of people ruling over the rest of the population on Earth. In the United States. We'll get to that on Earth as a world soul superpower. How's that globally? That's an undemocratic system too. What America is doing in the United Nations. So, but let's stick to the homeland of the United States with this particular video. So, The senators appoint the judges in the committee hearings when they're nominated and appointed, and hand chosen by the president instead of the people picking their judges, the population of America picking their judges. So I want to propose that the judges should be voted in by the American people. If you want to be a judge, you got to go in front of the people and explain to the people why you want to be a judge. And depending on the need of the population, if you got a good argument to be a judge, the American people vote you into the bench. And if you don't judge correctly, and the American people don't like your opinion, the American people can impeach you off the bench as a judge. So no more a few hand of corrupt officials packing the bench to soothe their narrative interests of special money or special interests. Corrupt judges that are there to judge narrow-mindedly for life as dictatorial opinions, subverting the whole nation to the whims of their thoughts. So the judicial branch needs to be ratified from what it is now, meaning it has to be changed. So I propose that on that same website, if you want to be a judge, you got to go in front of the American people and argue to the American people why you want to be a judge. And the American people will vote you into the bench. No more corrupt presidents like Trump and a handful of people like Lindsey appointing the judges for life. Lindsey Graham. Thank goodness he's gone. So, all equal and limited terms for all three branches. So all the way up to the Supreme Court, if you want to be a judge in the Supreme Court, the people have to vote you in. If you want to be a judge on the grass level circuit courts, the lower courts, the people have to vote you in. And if the people don't like your opinions, they can impeach you off the bench, the population. So if the judges get bad approval ratings by their populations in their circuits, all the way up to the federal court, the Supreme Court, if the people want to vote you out because they're tired of your opinions, they got the right to impeach you, the American people, not the handful of senators like Lindsey Graham and Trump keeping y'all judges in there for life. So I propose that the people control the destiny of the judicial branch, as well as the executive branch, as well as the branch of Congress. So all equal and limited terms for all three branches. Because right now, like I said, you got corrupt presidents that are embezzling the government, embezzling the treasury, making a gambling scheme out of the Senate, and out to enrich themselves as individuals. And then they prop up these judges for life to be dictatorial opinions, subverting the whole nation to the whims of their life opinionated thoughts. So for judges, no more a handful of people controlling the destiny of this country for decades and decades and decades at a time. Because that's what happened when you have judges for life. Remember the corrupt 5 judges in New York that told Trump he didn't have to pay a penny for a $500 million penalty for him embezzling Deutsche Bank money into his real estate and avoiding tax evasions? These 5 corrupt judges, they told him he didn't have to pay a penny for his crimes, even though they say he was guilty of it. And then you got Judge Roberts giving Trump immunity to enrich himself in the Oval Office. Supreme Court Justice Roberts. And Trump saying, I'm immune for life for being audited. And I won $1.8 billion for my white nationalist patriotic fronts. My people that raided the Capitals, my Confederates. And he's making a gambling scheme out of the Senate. And crippling it out for himself with rubber stamping bills into law. Thank God Lindsey's gone. So, because I always think of Lindsey and Trump like Casablanca, his Southern Scarlet, Lindsey. And the degenerate casinos of the Casablanca Trumpery. So, this is my campaign reform act. This is my campaign form amendment to be voted in, to be amended into the Constitution. Because we need fair and free elections. We don't need somebody like Trump stealing the elections and tossing out paper ballots with his now Clayton, his financial advisor from New York Southern District, to protect Trump from being audited as national intelligence, to give Trump the inside word of investigations before it gets to unravel and Trump can obstruct it, like he did with Kash Patel and Devin Nunes on Robert Mueller for the love of cash, now acting FBI director. So, we need to reform all three branches to keep it accountable to the people, by the people, for the people. Not for some few individuals like Trump and his corrupt officials. That's our aristocracy of autocrats that are demagogues and thieves at the same time, which is Trump and his officials. So, if we equal all three branches and make it accountable to the people, for the people, by the people, this will be a more democratic republic. Accountable to the citizens, not to bribery of corruptions, like Trump has perverted the government to be. You know, an analogy, if Jesus was alive, he'll whip out the money exchangers out of the Senate. As an analogy. Because Trump has degenerated so much that he put his name on the Bible. He said that he was better than God for fixing a Rockefeller skating ring. That book was better than the Bible, he insinuated. He put his face on God's body. He put his face on the Pope and shit-talked the Pope. Because the Pope wanted recognition of human rights and peace on earth. Can you imagine why he changed it from the Defense Department to the War Department? Trump, he doesn't believe in peace. So, because he's pillaging and plundering the wealth of nations. If I was NATO, I'd watch out for him annexing Greenland and Canada. They're up next on the chopping block, right? For this robber baron, wannabe robber baron. So, what we need is accountability in government. So the forensic voting machines with the digital paper trails, forensic receipts, digital forensic voting machines, digital forensic paper trails. And so by making it equal for all three branches, meaning if you want to be a senator, you win an election, your first term is 4 years. If you want to run for re-election, you run again, you get another 4 years. The same for Congress. But after, if you max out with your 2 terms, if you win 2 terms and you max out, every term is 4 years. If you win your first term, whether you be a judge, a president, or a senator, or a Congress representative, you end there for 4 years. If you want to run for another second term or another 4 years, you got to run for election again. If the American people pick you for 2 terms, once you win your 2 term and you max out, you cannot run again. You prohibited to run again. So all equal and limited terms for all 3 branches. And like I said, the people will vote you in. On this government centralized website, that politicians can now debate and argue for free without begging like whores for unlimited campaign funds to be in the pocket of bankers and hedge fund companies and corporations without no accountability, to be in the Senate for life like Lindsey and Mitch McConnell's wearing togas with gold reliefs, acting like they're the emperors of Rome. So, all equal and limited terms for all 3 branches. And like I said, not a penny will be legally allowed to be donated to any candidate. The candidates can will be designated on this website to debate for their races. They can add their pamphlets, their flyers, their history, their bios, and they can add as much videotapes of themselves debating and bringing the message to the American people for free on that website. That won't cost them a penny. So it will be illegal to donate campaign funds to candidates. And like I said, all three branches are voted in by the people for the people. And y'all can get impeached by the people, whether you be a senator, whether you be a Congress representative, whether you be a president, or whether you be a judge. If your approval rating drops to the level that the American people want you out, then you get impeached. You get fired from your job. So it will be the job of the American citizens to impeach the three branches of government officials. So if, let's say, if you become a tyrant like Trump and the people don't want you in the White House, they can kick you out the White House. So they can log into that website with the American people with their retina recognition, their face, the face recognition scan, their fingerprint scanning. And if people want to vote you out and they say they don't longer want you to serve, they don't want y'all to serve as public officials, once it passes a threshold of people wanting y'all out, y'all get impeached. So it would be up to the American people to keep you on the jobs if they want you there, and if they want to get rid of y'all, they can get rid of y'all. Whether you be a judge, whether you be a president, senator, or Congress representative. On that same website. And there will be a paper trail of that. And a digital trail. In case there want to be audits. So the people, when they vote to impeach, they get a paper receipt, forensic paper receipt, emailed to them and physically mailed to them. When they request for officials to be impeached. And so this website, they will be able to vote y'all in for all three branches and also be able to impeach y'all from all three branches. So this system will be accountable for the people, by the people. And that's how it should be in a true republic of democracy. Not just a few powerful people like Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell and Trump and Mike Johnson controlling the wills of all peoples within the republic. Like they are autocrats and technocrats, aristocracies of demagogueries under this Trumpery. So, I want the United Nations, the United States reforming the Constitution to make it accountable for the people, by the people, that all peoples are created equal with unalienable rights. And that goes for all three branches. Y'all there to serve the people, not to impose upon the people.